This year, one of the best East Coast toy shows underwent a massive change. For the past 7 years, the Toys for the Ages Expo has called Carlisle, Pennsylvania, its home. Every summer since 2020, collectors would travel to the Carlisle Expo Center for what began as a single-day show and eventually morphed into a 2-day event. The brainchild of collector Andy Cook, the Toys for the Ages Expo was a very thoughtfully and carefully curated toy show. Andy is a passionate, knowledgeable collector who focuses on the relics of the 1980s, ones he saw and owned through his childhood. And as a promoter and showrunner, he has made sure that each expo has a healthy and vibrant share of the vintage toys collectors often desire. Andy also puts considerable care into selecting the vendors for each event. I've found that these dealers are extremely knowledgeable when it comes to the collectibles, and that they're passionate about collecting as well. And with that knowledge, they either feature a narrower focus of a particular line or era, or they bring a wider spectrum that highlights many different lines or eras. Vintage, modern, ubiquitous, obscure, it's all there. But the 3 things that Andy has stressed with each booth is an emphasis on the quality of the offerings, the character of the dealers, and the overall experience of what a toy show should be. After all, when you really think about it, visiting a toy show as an adult is a bit of a fantasy come to life. A toy show is, in a sense, the toy store of our childhoods and of our dreams. And visiting one for a weekend gives us the chance to go back in time, to relive the wonder of those toys and the era that sparked our imaginations as children. In the same way that we hunted for specific toys in the aisles of stores like Toys R Us or Child World, we can continue the hunt now across the tables and booths for those plastic and cardboard treasures at the Toys for the Ages Expo. I went to my first Toys for the Ages in Carlisle in 2021, a year after it premiered. I attended it as a guest and as a helper of my good friend Pete LaRose, who was setting up at the show. That 2021 weekend turned out to be a life-changing event for me, as I met a number of collectors that I now call friends, and those friendships have lasted for years. I made such strong connections and memories at that show that it firmly established the Carlisle Expo as one of the best toy trips. And before I left the show that Saturday, I promised myself that I would return year after year. After all, at what other toy show do the vendors and collectors go out to a dinner together after the Friday setup, and on Saturday evening once the first day of the show ends? Where do you have a gathering of collectors, shoppers, and dealers that feels more like a family reunion at times, with a toy show as its backdrop? That's the power of what Andy has created, and what all of us have added to over the years. That's the power of the Toys for the Ages Expo. However, for the last 3 years, the show has needed a change of scenery. The Carlisle Expo Center was a great venue, but at 30,000 square feet, it was able to showcase approximately 60 vendors. The experience each year had been stellar, but knowing what Andy put into crafting the weekend and what he was able to offer, I felt like his vision for the Toys for the Ages had outgrown its locale. Last year, Andy shared with me that 2025 would be the Expo's final weekend in Carlisle. He had found a new venue, a 73,000 square foot complex set on a 30-acre property. It was being refurbished and over the next few years would include a resort, go-kart racetracks, arcades, and many more amenities. The size of the new venue would allow for bigger booths, wider aisles, a greater variety of offerings, and more than double the amount of vendors. The possibilities were simply endless. And with the entire complex and property being rebuilt and refurbished, it would become more than a toy show, and more than a toy show weekend. Eventually, it would become a destination vacation for collectors and friends that would center around one of the best toy show weekends in the Northeast. And all of this would be taking place in one of my favorite places in Pennsylvania, in the historic town of Gettysburg, where I spent 4 years as a college student. The last weekend in July has become a staple of the toy show season. But now, returning to my beloved Gettysburg to see the latest iteration of Andy's vision of what a toy show could and should be, I've been counting down the days for months for this summer adventure. And now, it's finally here. This is the weekend of the 2026 Toys for the Ages Expo, in an all-new location. This is a glimpse into what makes hunting for Star Wars memorabilia and hanging out with friends so worthwhile at the All-Star Sports Complex. This is the year that fully cements the Expo as one of the best annual toy shows of all time. This is a trip to Gettysburg I will never forget. And this is Star Wars, Prototypes and Production.
From Coruscant to Tatooine, and every planet in between, Star Wars, Prototypes and Production, with your host, David Quinn.
Vader.
It's a trap!
Yes, Master.
Whoa, we're gonna have company! Have to stand and fight.
The more you tighten your grip, Tom, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
The Force will be with you, always.
Good afternoon. I am about 15 minutes away from the Toys for the Ages Expo in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So this is very special because I went to school in Gettysburg, went to Gettysburg College, and I haven't been back here in years and years, and I've been really excited just to come back to this area because it was such a special time in my life. And at the same time, the fact that one of my favorite toy shows, the Toys for the Ages Expo, put on by our friend Andy Cook, is coming here to Gettysburg. So last year was the last year at Carlisle. And Carlisle was a great area. It was a nice, kind of quiet town. But it really worked for our group. We had spots that we would go to either in town, kind of on the, main street, or there was this other pub that we used to go to after setup. And Carlisle was great. The thing is, and I mean this in the best way possible, Andy's show outgrew that venue. I think at the time maybe he had about 60 vendors or so, and now he's moving to this one in Gettysburg. It's a brand new facility. It's I think it's called All-Star Sports Complex, and it's at least 2 or 3 times the size. It has go-karts and arcades and all this stuff to go with it, but the best part about it is he's having, I think, somewhere around 130 or so vendors. So we have double the amount of vendors. It's a 2-day show. Today is Friday, and I'm traveling in. I'm getting there now for setup, so I'm coming in with my buddy Pete LaRose, and I'm really just looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite shows of the year. Can't wait for it, and it's really one of my favorite shows because the quality of the vendors is wonderful. The fact that we all go out to eat after setup, and then sometimes we'll go out to eat after the first night on Saturday. The show ends 4 o'clock, and so a lot of times all the vendors and the people that came to the show will head to a restaurant together, and that makes it a really nice trip. Where it becomes more than just a toy show. And for us, in a lot of ways, it's become a family reunion because we've grown so close to other collectors. So, really looking forward to that. I had stopped at a rest stop about an hour and a half back, and earlier in the week, I was talking to my friend Chris Letty, who is based in New Hampshire, and he is a fellow Ahsoka-holic. And we were talking he asked me if I was coming to the show. We were talking, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Chris because I don't get to see Chris too often, and especially in the last year or so. So really looking forward to seeing him, and he's coming in with our buddies Alex Coulthart and Kevin Mann. Kevin Mann is, and I believe Alex are based in Maine, and I knew he was driving down with Kevin, and so I stop off at this rest stop and just to grab a sandwich, and I'm sitting in my car, and I look up, and I see the familiar tattooed arms of Chris Letty, and he's wearing an Uncle Bob's shop shirt from our friend Bob Mistrella, who's also going to be a vendor at the show. And so I just kind of went out, surprised both of them, and we sat and talked for 15 minutes or so and just caught up. And I really love that because when you get to the show, it can be very overwhelming. You walk in, and especially at a new venue, there's a lot to take in at that moment. There's a lot happening. A lot of people are setting up, and I would be helping Pete as well, too. And you're seeing people, and it then becomes that family reunion, which is wonderful, but it's a lot to take in at once. And by getting a little piece of it now, to be able to talk to Kevin and Chris and to catch up on life for just a few minutes, 15, 20 minutes was really wonderful. So they got a jump on me, but I had 2 sandwiches because I was really hungry. And so I'm, as I said, I'm about 15 minutes away. It's nice being back here in Gettysburg. We have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. So it's been pretty hot lately, and then this past week, the temperatures dropped into the low 80s, high 70s maybe, and that's what it's going to be for this one. So right now it's 82 degrees, overcast. I've been to the Toys for the Ages Expo when it's been 95 or 100 degrees, and it's sweltering, and everyone is soaking wet. And, fortunately, we don't have that this time. So that's it as far as what I'm looking for. I'm hoping just to find something special that I can bring home and mark as the piece from this trip. So it's funny, I'm actually passing the exit that would lead to my college, and again, I haven't seen this in a very, very long time. And there's an outlet as well too. It's a popular outlet now. I remember when it was, I think, just built. And but my girlfriend at the time and I, we would go there on weekends and just walk around and go into the different stores and stuff. And it's just really nice to be back. So that's it. As far as what I'm looking for, I would love to come home with some maybe rarer accessories for the Kenner line. I think there's going to be quite a bit of modern as well too. So there are some Clone Wars figures that I'd like to get that I realized I don't have. I might have a prototype of it, but not a production piece, so I'd like that. And then if I could get at least one carded figure, I think that if carded vintage Kenner figure, that would make the trip very special. So I've been able to actually pick up a few nice ones this year. I was very fortunate at some of the shows, and I just hope that continues. So, okay, here we are, and let the Toys for the Ages Expo weekend begin. Andy, how are you doing?
How you doing?
So it is before 3 o'clock. Everything has started already, and I'm looking forward to it. Spencer, say hi.
How's it going? What's up?
And this is getting really exciting. So Spencer's here. Spencer is one of the reasons why you have to come to the Toys for the Ages Expo. And he does one show a year, and it's the Toys for the Ages Expo. And he always brings some of the best vintage stuff that I've seen. He collects it for the entire year and then brings it to the show, and he usually does very well. His prices are great. He has everything from if you need vintage Kenner accessories, you need carded figures, loose figures, he's got it all. So, okay, Pete and I are going to work on the second part of his enormous van. Pete, how many items, or how many boxes did you bring?
Pete and I?
Yeah.
You've just been watching.
I've just been totally watching, just walking and following. No, how many boxes did you bring?
Oh, I don't know. It's an entire cargo.
40? Like 40 heavy-duty, large moving boxes, probably.
Yeah, something like that. And there was another 8 or 10 I didn't pack because I ran out of space. they were already packed for the show, and the van just said no.
Yeah, so you have so much stuff that you left your monster of an SUV home, and
because I could fit way more in this.
Yeah,
I'm actually probably going to be buying one of these for when I do more shows.
This is a cargo van.
Yeah.
And okay, well, I'm gonna help you now. Help you watch. That's what I'll do.
Help watch.
Okay, we're getting the last of it from Pete's truck, and then I'm going to give him birthday gifts for his daughter Audrey, who's so sweet, and she's crazy, and she wants to be a wrestler.
You met her?
Pete, where did you and Audrey just go?
We just got back from Europe. We went to Italy and Spain for about 12 days.
And this was her first time. Was it your first time going to Spain?
To Europe it was, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. And her first time as well. And did she like it?
She did. We did a bunch of places in Italy. We did Pisa. We did Florence, Rome, Capri, Sorrento, Pompeii. And then we extended for 3 more nights in Venice.
Very nice.
She was a excited little girl.
Happy camper. And then where did she go when she got home? What was something really special that she went to?
She went to my office because I was packed with work.
No. But I mean, something that she really likes and follows.
She had a wrestling event she went to up in Albany. Because, she likes wrestling for some reason.
Is she a WWE fan? Is that it?
I think that's what it is. Her grandmother got her involved. Okay. It's weird. Her mom and I neither care about wrestling, yet her grandmother watches.
And she's hardcore now, right? She really wants to.
Her grandmother? That's
weird. She really wants to. I think she wants to become a wrestler, right?
Yeah, she wants either to be a school bus driver or a wrestler.
To be 10 again.
Daddy's got to work a little longer. It sounds like, because somebody's going to be dependent on Daddy for a while.
Yeah, no, she's very sweet. All right, so we have 3 more boxes and we're done. Oh, this was so much work. Just a lot of work watching you. All right.
I hate you.
To make setup easier for the vendors, the promoter, Andy Cook, had the loading doors on one end of the building completely open. This allowed those carrying bins or pushing carts stacked with bins to enter the building and to head to their allocated booths. In the center of the expo hall was the official entrance and exit, which would be open to the public the following day. To enter the complex, you'd walk through the doors and down a long hallway toward the ticket line. Along the way was an arcade on your left. And a little further down was a large nook containing food and drink offerings, a group of cafeteria tables, and the restrooms. But the show floor was truly impressive. Mind you, this is a building that needs work. It felt more like a concept than a final design at the moment, and I had assumed that it was in the process of being repaired and redone. But as a space, I think Andy found what could be the Toys for the Ages permanent home. The roof overhead sat more than 2 or 3 stories high, and the venue felt nearly as wide as it was long. But it stretched almost further than I could see the first time I stepped into it. While the day wasn't sweltering like previous July toy show weekends, it was still hot, and a friend commented that we probably wouldn't have any air conditioning during setup. Walking in through one end, I stood in front of a wide center aisle that allowed for shoppers and vendors to move through the building easily and without obstacles. The aisle split the floor into what appeared to be 16 or more horizontal aisles on the left side and the same number on the right. Near the official entrance was the vendor check-in table. Andy and his wife Jennifer had decorated the area with a large Toys for the Ages banner, written in a graffiti-like font, highlighted by neon colors reminiscent of a relic from the 1980s. On either side of the banner were 2 former Toys R Us banners featuring Geoffrey the Giraffe's children, Geoffrey Jr. and Baby G. And underneath the signage were life-size cardboard cutouts of icons from the 1990s and 1980s, Darth Vader, C-3PO, Brave Star, Michael Jordan, The Ultimate Warrior, Scrooge McDuck, and Tailspin's Baloo the Bear. Pete walked me over to the check-in table where I received my wristband for the weekend. Once we brought the remainder of his boxes in, the two of us took a walk through each of the aisles together, catching up a bit and getting a peek at some of the tables. The vendors were pretty jovial, and there was a kindness that ran through the building. I watched as dealers helped others maneuver their carts, and some carried boxes to their neighbors' tables. There were handshakes and hugs among familiar faces, and those meeting for the first time engaged in friendly conversations. It felt more like a family cookout or a church gathering than a setup for a toy show, which really set the tone for the weekend. However, I have to emphasize that these dealers work very hard. The room was warm, and those setting up often spent a few hours bringing in their wares, unpacking everything, going over pricing or pricing the items on the spot, and arranging the tables to match what they envisioned for their booths. Some vendors have this down to a science. They've mapped out a structure for their tables that can be replicated rather quickly at every show they attend. They often pack their items in showcases that can simply be set down across the tables, or they know what they have and where they're going to sit on each shelf they construct. Watching a toy show come together in this manner is something very special. It's each vendor showcasing their best and most interesting items, and making the most of the space they've rented for the weekend. And with every booth that nears completion, Andy's fuller vision for the toy show becomes a striking reality. So looking at the time really fast, it is 3:19, and this is one of the toughest parts of going to a show, especially a new show like this, and especially a big show. During setup, as things are coming in and coming together, there are so many bins and containers, and the curiosity is killing me. I'm so excited to see what has shown up here, but at the same time, it's people are still packing their gear and setting up their tables, and I want to be mindful of that. So I try not to impose on anybody while they're setting up. But again, it's like going to a toy store when you're little and maybe not being able to walk down the aisles, or having your mom take you over to like the baby or infant section where you're like, yeah, but the boys' toys are only a few aisles away from me. So there's a little bit of everything here. This is such an enormous space, especially compared to the last one. And the last one was a great setup, great venue. But this just, somebody said it feels like a mini Xenia, or smaller Xenia. And I think he was absolutely right. So haven't seen anything yet that's caught my eye. Although there is a nice showing of Star Wars, which is good. And Spencer isn't set up yet. I don't know if he's going to be setting up tonight. I assume he is if he's here. But I can't wait to see what he brought. And I just spoke with Mark Ryan and Christian Kuhn, and they own a store together, a toy store together. But they are also set up together as well, and to me, their setup is the largest that I've ever seen. They said that they've had larger setups, but I've never seen that, and again, very, very impressive. And they said they have a number of carded Power of the Force figures, not Power of the Force 2, but actual Power of the Force figures, including a carded Luke Stormtrooper. So I definitely want to take a look at that. I have 4 Luke Stormtroopers, might as well add a 5th if the price is right. Okay, so I think I went through the entire setup so far. There are a lot of empty tables. There are a lot of tables that are just starting to get boxes, basically, but really, some toys and some collectibles together. There's everything from, items from the 40s and all the way up till items that were produced and were in stores yesterday. So, but I think a lot of the vendors that Andy seems to choose are ones that are very good at curating. Oh, here's Andy now. Hey. Andy, how are you?
Good, sir.
I want to thank you so much. I was just talking about your show. Somebody mentioned to me that this is, they said the venue reminds them of a smaller Xenia, and I don't think you can get a better compliment than that. So, are you ready?
Well, and plus, I didn't know, but somebody from the UK flew in for it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he.
Is there any way I can come up to the door? Would anybody care?
Well, don't block the door.
Yeah, sure.
If you can get your vehicle in there, yes. Just don't block the actual door so you can get in and out.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
Yeah, some guy, I guess. I think I talked to him out at Xenia, but I can't remember what his name is. A super nice guy. But Eddie from my store called and said there was a guy from the UK that flew in just for the show, and
it's amazing.
So, I mean, I feel blessed. You know what I mean?
It's worth it. But this is. I was saying before, I love the show in Carlisle, but I felt like you had outgrown it at some point, and I think that's a testament to what you do.
Yeah.
Great venue, but this having 130 vendors, is it somewhere around there?
Yeah, about 130. Yeah.
Yeah, is phenomenal, and I just can't believe the space and how many vendors there are, and the type of stuff that they're bringing too. I mean, this is a really nice selection.
It's fantastic. I still have, technically, I could put 24 more spaces in this building, but right now we just kept it short just because I wanted to make sure this is our first year in here with Pipe and Drape, make sure everything was good to go. So, hopefully next year we can expand a little bit. We brought the vehicles inside this year, so that's cool. And then in the back, I have the 5-1 Garrison has a booth, Bobby's Toys, Hades Allies, Sean with the Hall of Omens book, he's back there signing. The radio station's coming doing a live broadcast back there, so we have
wonderful.
and
you have the A-Team van as well.
Yes, and the Turtle race car. Yep. So that's kind of cool to bring those in this year.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's just it's wild. It's a big building.
As I was driving over here, one of the things I thought of that I wanted to ask you was, how did you choose Gettysburg, and how did you choose this building? Because I think this was just built, right? Or it just turned into a center?
So this building's been around for a long time. It just got a lot of neglect, and there was I actually signed a contract over the old ownership, but I signed it I've been working on this building for 2.5 years. I signed the contract for 2.5 years, and the reason why we didn't do it last year is because they already had an event booked the same weekend. I don't want to change our weekend date, so I've been planning this for about 2.5 years, and then in the meantime, there's a investment group that bought the old Boyd's Bear Barn across the street, and they turned that into a resort. They bought this, so now they're in the process of renovating this. Like they finished the arcade out in the lobby. The go-karts are not done yet, but the go-kart track will be functional for next year.
Okay.
The mini golf courses out back should be functional for next year.
They did a great job with the resort already. I mean,
oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. So there's a lot that's happening here. New bathrooms are putting in. Like, it's just a process. They tore all the AstroTurf up. Like, this building was in rough shape, and they're fixing it up, and it's
so 2027. It's going to be like a totally new experience as well.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, pretty sure that I know for a fact the go-karts will be up and running, because that's like their big thing. They got 2 tracks outside. They just need redone, and I know they already ordered the carts and stuff. So
okay.
They told me before that it was possible for this show, but it just didn't work out. So
okay, well that makes sense. But are you pretty happy with the way everything is rolled out and the way the setup is?
Yeah, so far. I'm just running around like crazy trying to make sure everybody's good to go. I'm going to do a walkthrough video at some point here, but tons of parking. We got like 4,000 parking spaces. The horror show, car convention's going on in hotels across the street here. So you're going to have those people and our people, so it should be pretty fun.
It's a busy weekend.
Yes.
All right, well, I want to thank you again. I was thinking of this as well coming over, at how fortunate we are that we've developed sort of a family-like atmosphere, or a family-like group, because you've created a family-like atmosphere for everybody. And this is, I think, my 4th or 5th year coming in a row, and I just wouldn't miss it. So I thank you so much for giving us this time and this place where we can hunt for toys and just hang out and stuff. So.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be a part of it, and that's what it's all about. So we're excited. But
all right, wish you the best. I know you're busy. I hate to bother Andy when he's in the middle of running around. So that was Andy Cook. I don't think I got to say his last name, but that's Andy Cook. He's the promoter. He's the one who puts this on. And really, for me, this is my 5th show. I think I came to 2021. That was my first one. And I've absolutely loved it. And he's really done such a nice job. Give him a lot of credit. Again, he selects really nice vendors, people who are not only incredibly kind, but also incredibly knowledgeable. And I think a lot of them save items for the show specifically, because it's just, it's a very popular one. It draws in a large crowd, people who really appreciate things. And so he's always done a great job curating it. And then we just, as a result, show up. And I have to say, too, I think the people that come, whether they're the vendors or whether, they're shoppers or just people that want to hang out with other collectors, I think they bring a lot to the show as well, because they bring an excitement, a genuine excitement. We all want to be here. We all want to shop the show, and then we all want to go out to eat together and sit for a few hours and just, talk, catch up on life and laugh. And as a result, as collectors, we have these wonderful opportunities to come out to events and to travel to different parts of the country where we all have something to look forward to. We all have a reason to come out, but really the best part is that we continue to do it, that we return again and again, and that it gives us these meetups. And that's really what it is. Especially as you get older, you realize toys are great, the hunting is fun, but these connections that we make and these moments that we have together, these pictures that we take together, the meals that we eat, the restaurants that we visit, the silly adventures that we go on, it really just means so much. So I'm very fortunate, very thankful for it. I'm happy to have an 80-degree day to do so. And I still haven't found anything yet, but that's okay. I just like walking around so far. So I'm going to meet back up with Pete and help him arrange his booth. And then we'll probably take a few more laps, especially as more people come in. Because there are still a number of empty tables, quite a bit actually. I would say probably 20% of the tables right now actually have items on them, and are being built up, and the rest, people will trickle in, especially as they get off of work or as they drive in. I was surprised to hear Andy say that somebody came in from the UK, but at the same time, I'm really not shocked. This is the type of show that draws people from regions, further than you'd expect to travel for a toy show. And I think that speaks a lot to the legacy of Toys for the Ages. So, all right, I'm going to wander over toward Pete now. I'm not joking. I can't remember seeing this much as far as vintage and really good vintage. And there are a lot of people. Some of my friends are here around a table right now, and gosh. I'm assuming this is not about. So they are looking at really cool pieces right now. Kevin Mann has a Sectors booklet. He's got some comics with him as well. I'm here with Chad. We're hanging out. So Chad, what's going on at this table? Because it looks very interesting.
Dude, there's a lot of interesting things going on in this building.
Absolutely.
And for it to wow me...
Yeah, I was just saying, I can't remember seeing this much quality vintage before.
Oh, dude. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Xenia earlier in the year, and it was
good.
It was good, but honestly, dude, I'm seeing stuff that I don't see too often.
Are you about to cause some pain to your wallet?
Dude.
I wouldn't blame you.
Matt, did you see this?
Yeah. Kevin beat me to it.
Oh!
I spent a considerable amount of time at Spencer Meyer's booth. I've attended every Toys for the Ages since 2021, and Spencer is one of the vendors that makes the show memorable. He's definitely one of the reasons why people attend, and it's easy to see why. Spencer runs a gold and silver shop in Pennsylvania. And during the year, he stores up collectibles that come into his shop, as well as ones he finds at yard sales, flea markets, and at places around the state. He only sets up at one show each year. And fortunately for me and the other attendees, that show is the Toys for the Ages Expo. Just seeing what Spencer brings each year makes the trip to Toys for the Ages worthwhile. The first year I attended the show in Carlisle, I was able to pick up 4 beautiful Kenner carded Luke Jedi figures. His prices were very reasonable, which is a staple of his booth. And he doesn't want to go home with anything he brings to sell, so he's always willing to make further deals on items, especially if you're buying a few of them at once. Every year, Spencer's inventory changes, depending on what he finds. But he'll always have some carded figures, as well as a few display cases of loose figures, including some Power of the Force rarities and desirable one-offs like the blue Snaggletooth. But for me, one of the main draws is the accessories container he brings. Whether you need the microphones and the flute for the Max Rebo band, or your stormtroopers are missing some blasters, or you're one very rare accessory away from completing a figure, you'll probably find what you need at Spencer's table. Last year, he had a solid black blaster for Luke Stormtrooper, a black Palace blaster for the Power of the Force Luke Endor, or Lando General, a Lumat bow, the Millennium Falcon training ball and arm, and Luke Jedi green sabers. And that was only a tiny fraction of the Star Wars accessories he offered for sale. As an accessory fan and collector, I love spending time at his table and going through the container in the hopes of finding something I need for my figure set. But Spencer brings more than the figures. He often carries the ephemera of the original trilogy era, as well as the box vehicles and playsets produced by Kenner. And in addition to the Star Wars toy line, he also brings memorabilia from many other lines as well, like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Indiana Jones. And in the past 2 years, he's added trading cards to his booth as well. Speaking with Spencer when I first arrived, he told me that he had recently acquired a collection of basketball cards featuring legends like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. He was supposed to set up at a card show, but those plans fell through at the last minute. So he brought the cards to the Toys for the Ages Expo, in case there were any card collectors in attendance. He also had a massive collection of Pokemon and non-sports cards for sale, and predicted they would be very popular that weekend. So for part of the afternoon, I hung around Spencer's booth as he and some friends and family set up their tables. The size of the new venue afforded Spencer with his largest setup yet, and to make sure he had enough items, he brought more than 100 27-gallon totes with him. It was exciting to see each new round of totes arrive at his booth. One contained a run of He-Man figures. Another had a wave of My Little Pony toys and Barbie dolls. Others were packed with sealed boxes of sports cards from decades past. Spencer would often point out the bins that contained Star Wars figures, knowing they interested me. And he would allow me and other collectors to dig through each bin before putting the items out on the tables. Okay, you would not believe it, but the show is coming together beautifully. And I would say most of the tables, there's activity on at least most of the tables now. They're filling up pretty quickly. I'm trying to take a walk through. I was hanging out at Spencer's table because he just kept bringing out stuff, and the more items that he'd pull out, the more interesting things got. But I realized I've been kind of neglecting the rest of the show, so I wanted to just take a walk through. When I was speaking to Chad before, and it was funny because the table that they were at, there were so many items from the 80s, so many kind of oddball items that you normally wouldn't see. And so it was a little hectic, a little crazy in that moment, but man, he said, and I really believe him, there's more unique vintage quality items here than we see at most shows. And I was really excited for this one because I do love this show, but I was not expecting this. And this level of quality, this variety as well, too. The only thing I really haven't seen yet, and I know my friend Mark Ryan and Christian Kuhn, they mentioned that that they have carded figures, but I really haven't seen a lot of vintage carded figures. And that was what I was looking for. However, I do find myself back at Spencer's table again. And so... right next to Spencer's table, there is this amazing display of vintage turtles and Jurassic Park items, and the shelves. Somebody brought, it looks almost like a wood case rather than just your typical shelf backer. I don't even know what to call it, like a grating. Instead of a grating, it was just it's a wooden case. It looks like somebody took it from their living room. Just a really nice way to display an entire Turtles collection. So that was interesting. I'm seeing a lot of things that might be overlooked more by collectors. Things like jigsaw puzzles from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Board games, which I really like. More carded and loose figures from every toy line I can remember. No prototypes. I know Pete brought some prototypes with him, so there's at least that representation. A lot of interesting posters. A friend of mine before was looking for some displays. I asked him just very quickly if he was looking for anything in particular, and he said, I'm looking for McDonald's displays. And I thought, well, I ran into a gentleman who has some displays, and they were ones, I think, from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, like that. And so he might have purchased one or two of them. Some Legos. See some Star Wars stuff. I do see Star Wars stuff, but I haven't seen anything yet that's really kind of hit the sweet spot of what I'm looking for. So I think I see Chris Letty, so I'm going to go hang out with him for a little bit.
To clarify, the two Turtles display cases were constructed of a blonde wood, each standing 6 feet in height. A few action figure carrying cases sat on top of them, followed by a large plush Raphael and a white Ghostbusters Big Wheel tricycle. The cabinets had glass fronts and contained a full array from the original Turtles line, including most of the carded figures and some of the vehicles. I had never seen a display like that at a toy show, and it felt more like viewing a friend's collection at their home. It was a nice touch and a nice addition to an already incredible toy show. One of my favorite things about the Toys for the Ages is shopping the show with various collectors. I was able to spend some time touring the aisles with Chris Letty, and then I also had time with Kevin Mann of Caveman Toys, toy guru Chad Plouffe, Matt of the YouTube channel Ree's Retro Toys, and Ron of the YouTube channel Century TMC. Being with each of them, there's a feeling that harkens back to childhood. It's much more difficult to capture as an adult, but for some reason, it's common to experience it at a toy show. And it's the feeling of running around through a venue together, searching for the toys of our childhoods, basking in the nostalgia, but being energized by the excitement of what we find and what our friends discover. And at once, many of us return to our elementary school years, if only for a day of joyous hunting together. That's often the essence of why we return to these toy shows, to connect with our childhoods and to connect with one another as friends in the process. In between setting up Pete's booth, he and I would take a few more laps together, returning to Spencer's booth every so often to see the latest collectibles unveiled at his tables. Approaching 5:30, I left the venue to stop by my car for a quick snack break.
It's 20 after 5. I just took a little snack break, ran to my car, and got some of the snacks that I brought just to keep my energy up. The
parking lot is pretty full. Again, it's really nice. It's a little warm, but not that bad. The venue inside, they're not running the air conditioning, but it's still cool enough that it's not sweltering. So,
I'm not going to buy a portion of these. I bet about 20. I want them all. It's like, well, there's a lot more.
I just walked by a friend who's doing a deal, it looks like, for Masters of the Universe figures, and heading back into the show now. Most of the vendors are here, I would say, and are setting up. But there's still people coming in for the first time and bringing stuff, and I think there will be a number of vendors coming tomorrow as well. But it's nice to see everybody. This time goes by so quickly. I mean, I can't believe it's almost 6 o'clock already. I believe setup runs until about 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere like that. And then, I'll probably check into the hotel and then head over to wherever we're going to eat. So, it should be pretty good. So, Chad, have you found anything yet?
I have.
You have?
I have.
Okay. Big?
I've already spent some money.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent some money.
Bigger items, smaller items, mid-size?
I'll have to show you at some point.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. But so the trip's already worth it.
As soon as I walked in the door.
Oh, God bless you.
As soon as I walked in the door, bud.
Okay.
This is probably one of the highlights of my year.
I was going to say, I feel like you wait for this show. I do the same thing. So
I've even skipped on a bunch of local ones that I knew weren't going to be.
Yeah.
Jesus, I just saw something else.
Oh, okay. Right, it's 10 to 8, and the day, as usual, went super fast. I was able to pick up a few items, a few accessories. So I went to Spencer's booth, and I was able to pick up 2 Luke Jedi capes, a blue Snaggletooth blaster, and I got a Luke poncho, which is fantastic. I've needed one for a while, and so that's great. And I have more Lukes than I do capes, so I was able to check off 2 really nice ones, and that's what I always look for. And his prices were very fair. It was great, so that's a huge win. I didn't see anything else that I really needed or wanted to pick up, but I'm going to go take one more lap. I think it's about to close, and Andy's heading out, so... Is it closed? Are we closing?
No, I'm leaving.
Oh, okay, gotcha. 8:30, okay. So we have about a half hour left. Generally, during the final hour of setup, vendors will put the finishing touches on their tables. They'll also use whatever free time they have to visit other tables, in search of items at good prices, or to get a better idea of what's being offered at a particular show. For many of us at the Toys for the Ages Expo, the final half hour is a time to establish dinner plans. It's been a years-long tradition of going out to eat as a group after setup with the dealers and collectors. And the intention is to find a local restaurant that can accommodate 20 or more collectors, one that would provide delicious food and a memorable evening. As I mentioned earlier, I attended school in Gettysburg. So while I was familiar with many of the established places, so many new pubs and restaurants have opened since my graduation day. One of our friends mentioned the Appalachian Brewing Company. Located in a growing area of the town, the restaurant is also adjacent to the historic battlefields of the Civil War. The Appalachian Brewing Company was a quick ride from the All-Star Sports Complex, less than 5 miles. The July evening had afforded us a later sunset, but by the time we left the parking lot of the venue and headed for the restaurant, we were catching the last glimpses of sunlight. As expected, the town of Gettysburg was pretty busy on a Friday night, and with so many people hanging out at the brewing company, there was a 45-minute wait to be seated inside the restaurant. Fortunately, it had an outdoor patio section. The patio was beautifully lit, with strings of warm yellow lights over a series of picnic tables, running from tree to tree. To order food and drinks, we didn't have to go inside. There was a window in which a server would take our orders and our money. She gave each of us a ticket number to display on our picnic tables, and another server would find us and would deliver our meals. Pubs like this often specialize in a few different dishes, and the one that stood out to me was one of their epic trail burgers called the Yurt Burger. The menu, which was difficult to read in the dim outdoor lighting, described the Yurt Burger as follows: bourbon barbecue bacon, cheddar cheese, and fried onion straws, finished with ABC root beer barbecue ranch, served with lettuce and tomato. I'll be honest, I'm not usually a fan of ranch, and I didn't even see the word because I had stopped reading once I got to the ABC root beer barbecue. I'd never had root beer barbecue before, which was also on the burger. But I just loved the idea of it and had to try the Yurt Burger. And the server, whom I must admit was beautiful and very personable and funny, also recommended it and said it was her favorite dish at the restaurant. So I was completely sold on it. It was one of the best hamburgers I've ever had. It was certainly a messy burger to eat in public, but it was worth getting your hands and face covered in that incredible combination of sauces. In total, about 20 of us parked ourselves across 4 or 5 picnic tables. I sat with Chad Plouffe, Matt from Ree's Retro Toys, who also ordered the Yurt Burger, Ron, and my dear friend Matt Kraling. Matt brought his girlfriend to the restaurant, and after they both went through a very difficult year separately, it was wonderful to know that they found one another through a group hiking event. After checking into the hotel, Pete joined our group at our table and recounted moments from his trip to Europe. The night was one of those magical ones that I'll never forget. The details of the conversation we had may blur over time, but I'll always remember the feeling of being at the Appalachian Brewing Company on a Friday in July. The weather was perfect. It felt like we were sitting indoors, except we were among those gorgeous string lights, under massive, full trees like you'd see on a class trip or at a camp. And the stars hovered above us, adding to the magic. Music filled the atmosphere through speakers I couldn't quite locate, giving it the feel that it was simply part of the air we were breathing that night. There was an electricity to the moment, a lift from each round of laughter around us, and yet the conversations were intimate, they were connective and peaceful. As the conversation turned toward collecting, I sat back for a moment, taking in the entirety of the scene surrounding me. I realized how fortunate I was to be there in Gettysburg, and how it was the result of years of returning back to the Toys for the Ages and to similar toy shows in our region. And the years of building what I hope will be lifelong friendships with these collectors culminated in a meal and a moment like this. One that, as I said before, I'll never forget. At some point, we were all strangers to one another. Our names were not in each other's phones. We weren't in the same collecting groups or in the same friendship circles. But by showing up in person, getting to know one another, and creating these moments together, we were building these relationships that are more rewarding than any toy find at any show. The night was ours. The patio at the pub in Gettysburg was ours, if only for a night. And the weekend, and whatever blessings would come from it, would belong to all of us as well.
Okay, so it's almost 9 o'clock. We went to dinner. We're sitting outside at picnic tables from the Appalachian Brewing Company, and this is pretty fantastic. So we have a group coming in. I think they're going to have something like maybe 15 people, 20 people here, and it's just, I've never been here, even though I spent 4 years at Gettysburg. It's probably a newer spot, but really looking forward to it. We have a perfect day for sitting outside under beautiful lights, listening to bands like The Police in the background, and
again, just one of the more special moments for a really nice trip so far. By 10 o'clock, the day began to catch up with all of us. We finished our meals and then stood around the picnic tables nursing our drinks and finishing our conversations. I don't think any of us wanted to leave, but the Saturday morning of a toy show weekend comes around pretty quickly, and you want to make sure you're ready for it. And to do so requires a good night's sleep. So after a series of hugs and handshakes, we said our goodbyes, knowing we'd all see one another again in a few short hours. I drove through the town, seeing some familiar haunts for the first time in years, and the locations brought back specific memories from my time living in Gettysburg. I traveled up a small hill to my hotel right off of Route 15 called the Wyndham Gettysburg Hotel and Conference Center. Located next to the Gateway Movie Theater and down the street from the Gettysburg National Military Park, the hotel was beautiful. The lobby featured 2 meeting rooms, each resembling the layout similar to the White House's Oval Office. And the entire hotel was furnished with military touches, like seals embroidered into the rugs, and large 2-wheeled cannons guarding the front desk. There were fireplaces and mantels, and paintings of presidents and of officers from centuries past adorning the walls. The furniture, also styled from previous eras, added to the hotel's charm and connection to Gettysburg's rich history. I checked in, brought my suitcases up to my room, and almost immediately got ready for bed. With a double-sized show, I wanted to make sure I took advantage of every minute of my time in Gettysburg the next day, and I wanted to be awake and alert to experience all of it. Tomorrow, I would experience the first official day of the Toys for the Ages Expo, the way our friend Andy Cook had planned it. I would tour the 73,000 square foot complex and would shop at the booths and tables of more than 130 vendors. I'd be on the lookout for prototypes and production pieces from Star Wars, my favorite franchise and toy line of all time. And I would get to spend another weekend at the Toys for the Ages Expo with so many of my friends. Saturday morning could not come fast enough. Thank you so much for joining me for part 1 of the 2026 Toys for the Ages Expo series. In part 2, we'll spend Saturday at the show, speaking with other collectors and hunting for Star Wars collectibles. And I'm sure there will be a few great finds and some surprises along the way. So get a good sleep and we'll walk the show floor together. Next time on Star Wars, Prototypes and Production.